As aircraft owners and pilots, we're always chasing the next best thing for our airplane. Usually that's better performance or better aesthetics. We all want really fast planes that look really good. But what if I told you could get both of those things in just one single upgrade? Today we are testing out Mojo's latest upgrade, which is a brand new Hartzell propeller. And we're gonna stack it up against our old McCauley prop in a before and after video. I've been working in general aviation for about 9 years now as an aircraft sales broker, and a lot of the aircraft I sell have Hartzell props. That's how I become really familiar with this company, that they are known for their quality craftsmanship, they're known for longer TBOs, they're known for great customer service, and that's why I was really eager to partner with Hartzell Prop on this project. I chose to update my outdated McCauley 2-blade prop to the new Hartzell 3-blade prop called the Legend prop. This prop is a super scimitar aluminum propeller. Say that 5 times fast. I installed the kit called the top prop. The top prop is the 3-blade propeller, but also includes the spinner assembly, which I think really helped complete the whole look of this plane. Since I was on the actual Hartzell campus in Ohio, I had the pleasure of meeting one of their engineers, Trevor. Trevor helped design an entire flight profile for us to fly before and after the new prop, testing some very specific parameters. Tell me about the worksheet you made for me. Let's go over this before the flight.
Okay, so this is basically a quick and dirty checkout. It's getting close to what we do to certify stuff and test it ourselves, but in a compressed format and with less precision. Basically, we're going to look at every phase of flight that you're going to be interested in. Takeoff, climb, cruise, approach and landing. We're going to have you stop at the end of the runway on a marker that you can pick. So I picked the end of the numbers. You can pick something else if you want to. Okay. Full brakes, full power, let it come up to power, and then release the brakes. You might feel a bit more of a kick with the new prop than the old one. And then rotate at a defined speed.
Okay.
And kind of get a feel for how much runway that takes and see if you notice a difference.
Okay.
And then we got a couple of climbs at 3 different climb speeds, so VX, VY, and cruise. The idea is going to be that you set up your airplane on in this climb condition. You want it trimmed. You can use the autopilot if you want, or hand fly it. The idea being that you're going to have it stable on airspeed, on engine setting for about 1,000 feet, and then it doesn't matter exactly which 1,000 feet to start with because you'll go out and replicate it the next time.
Okay.
And it doesn't need to be like exactly 1,000 feet, in that you don't need to start at 2,000 feet and then get to 3,000 feet. It could be 2,200 to 3,200, something like that. I forgot to mention, we do want to set the altimeter to 29.2 at the start. That way we're flying on pressure altitude.
Yeah.
And basically start the clock at a defined altitude and then end it at a defined altitude.
Okay.
And then we can calculate a rough rate of climb between that, instead of using the VSI, which is probably going to wobble back and forth.
Yeah, and I like what you put in here about the winds. That's important for the climb.
Yeah, so we always do ours perpendicular to the prevailing wind. Right now winds look like they're predominantly north-south up at altitude, so east-west. And then cruise, so you'll be up at altitude after doing the climbs at this point, so you'll be at a good cruising altitude. Set up the airplane on your cruise setting. We're going to start with the economy cruise setting, and then later we'll go up to a higher power cruise setting. That way you're not waiting for the airplane to slow down when you're transitioning. You're going to wait for it to speed up, which tends to happen a bit faster. So you want to get the airplane stable. All of this test flying is about getting the airplane stable, so you're giving it time to develop in its condition. If you do things too quickly, you're not sure if you're measuring what you just did versus what it's going to end up doing.
Sure.
So stabilize for about 2 minutes.
Okay.
And then you want to make a turn, and that's when you're going to start the test.
Okay.
And then fly for about a minute, and then record this data. That's basically which way are you going, and what's your engine doing, and how fast you're going.
And then approach and landing is going to be not as crucial as the takeoff and climb in terms of performance difference.
Yeah, we're not really measuring anything there. It's more of a qualitative feedback. How does it feel to you as a pilot? Does it give you any opportunity to do things differently? Does it require you to do things differently?
Great. Okay, well, thank you for making this worksheet. I'm excited to go fly this and go be test pilot for a day, and then we'll do it again tomorrow. So obviously we are not professional test pilots, but we tried our hardest. We tried to make sure that all of the parameters on the before and after video were as closely identical as possible. To help achieve that, we flew the old McCauley before flight on one morning, and the very next morning at the exact same time, we flew the new Hartzell prop. That way we could best match up the temperatures and winds and flight conditions. After we briefed our flight and our flight duties, who was doing what, we departed out for one last flight with our old McCauley prop. The takeoff procedure was to take off normally with flaps 10, and we were going to do a static takeoff, hold the brakes full power, and we would note where we lifted off the ground at 55 knots.
Are you ready, test pilot Mindy?
I'm actually really ready. I love worksheets and math and like numbers and all this, so this is really fun.
This is exciting. Let's do it.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep, I'm gonna go and do a back taxi.
All right.
Let's get all of our lights on. Hartzell Field, Skyline 382 Delta is back taxiing runway 26 for departure, Hartzell. We'll do a standard 1-notch of flap for our takeoff.
Oh, they had a little turn off here.
Yeah, that's good. Are the finals clear?
Finals clear.
Hartzell traffic, Skyline 302 Delta is lining up runway 26 for departure out to the north, Hartzell. Let's get to the end of the stripes. Is that good for you? I'll put my wheel on the end of.
Okay.
So write that down. I'm on the edge. Are you?
Yep.
Okay.
Full power.
Okay. I'm so excited. Ready?
Yep.
In the green. Airspeed is alive. 55. Pitching over to gain a little bit of airspeed. We'll get to safe altitude and we'll retract the flaps.
After takeoff, we went out into the practice area, did some clearing turns, and then we started to do our climb performance maneuvers. As Trevor explained to us from the engineer style, the key to these climb performances was to make sure that we were in a stabilized climb before we noted our entry altitude. So basically, we got into a climb, got it stabilized, that way that initial pitch up wasn't fluctuating our numbers at all.
Okay, autopilot's going on.
And I start the timer at 20.
65 is so aggressive. Get stable. Get ready to start time. We'll get stable for a few seconds here.
And I'm gonna start it
Not yet.
right now, right?
Not yet. All right, we're about stable at 2900. Ready, go. Note 2900. Everything looks good. CHTs are getting hot, but let's get to this 3900 hopefully. Coming up on 39, watching time.
Yep.
Charlie,
And
turning
3,
left, downwind 421.
2, 1.
All right. Time is 1 minute and 7 seconds. Pretty good.
We did our VX climb at 64 knots, perpendicular to the wind, and we noted our climb performance from 2,900 to 3,900 feet. This took us 1 minute and 7 seconds, or 896 feet per minute climb.
So now we're going to do a VY climb at 81.
Yes.
Let it get stable here first. Probably going to be around 3,800. We're on speed. Let's go 3,800.
All right.
Write it.
Yep,
You will. 3, 2, 1.
Boom. 3,800.
Greenwood traffic, Cherokee 38 Juliet, now 5.5 miles to the east, inbound 19 Greenwood.
This is way more comfortable.
Way more
Oh my
comfortable. I did not like that. We're losing a little bit, not
Madison County
much.
traffic, 616 Papa Charlie.
We are
downwind,
climbing to a higher
127,
altitude than the
Madison
last one
County.
though, so it's not apples to apples. We're gonna go to 4,800.
Yep. Ready for it. Come on, Mojo. Get there. Oh, it's gonna be so close.
In 3,
Madison
2,
County, track 249,
one.
base runway 21, good to go, Madison.
4,800, 1 minute and 11 seconds.
But the key is our CHT stayed at 385.
They did.
That was much nicer.
Then we did our VY climb, 81 knots, also perpendicular to the wind from 38 to 4,800 feet. This took us 1 minute and 11 seconds for this 1,000-foot gain, which is about 845 feet per minute. Then we captured our cruise climb at 95 knots, 23 inches and 2,400 RPM.
Airspeed, we already have a 95. Let's start this here at 4,000. Are you ready?
Ready.
We're at airspeed.
Ready?
Now.
Go.
So write down 4,000 somewhere.
I will.
This is a way slower climb. And our highest climb. I've never seen you take notes before. This is adorable.
Madison County traffic, 616 Papa Charlie, downwind.
200 feet to go.
Madison County.
491, Babylina.
And timer in 3, 2, 1.
Ooh.
It's a cruise climb. It's not a
1
bad
minute.
number.
44 seconds.
All right, I'm gonna get to 5,000 feet. Altitude, autopilot.
We climbed perpendicular to the wind again, and we climbed from 4,000 to 5,000 feet. This took us 1 minute 44 seconds, or 577 feet per minute. Next, we would fly a cruise profile, which was basically a box of flying all 4 cardinal headings. Before we started recording the box, we would fly for 2 minutes to make sure everything was stabilized, and then each leg was measured at 1 minute in length.
Do 21.5 on the manifold. At 2,100 RPM. Okay?
Tell me when you're ready. We're on a 90.
Let's let it stabilize for another minute.
Altitude's 5,000.
Turn 90 degrees, fly for 1 minute, and then record the data. So let me turn 90 now to the north. And I can, oh, you're gonna time it.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do a minute.
360, those are the same.
Yep.
All right. Here's our minute at 118. Ground speed 112 of a track 004.
All right, start
Ready?
your...
Westbound. We're flying a box right now. All right, this is the 270. Still 21.5, 2,100.
27, we're keeping an eye out for everybody else in the pattern, Madison County.
Okay, we are at true airspeed 119, ground speed 115.
All right, start your turn.
Madison traffic, 491, Babylina, left base, 21, touch and go, Madison.
And here we are on the south. We'll be flying over the field.
There's not a lot of wind today. This is good. This is showing like nothing different.
Do-do-do-do-do.
I've never been in here.
Okay, I don't want to be a test pilot anymore. This is boring. Just kidding. Just kidding.
That's what you do, right?
All right, true airspeed 118, ground speed 117 on a track of 181.
Start your turn.
Roger, we'll turn across onto here shortly.
90.
Papa Charlie, Madison County.
Last one. Then we'll go to our normal cruise.
We don't typically fly an economy cruise.
No, but it's, let's get the data. Data.
All right, starting our timer.
Metro, Cessna 229, Mike Echoes final for 15, Metro.
Our speed is like the same every heading. It's crazy. Never seen the wind just like calm.
All right, true airspeed 119, ground speed 115.
First, we did economy cruise at 5,000 feet at 21.5 inches and 2,100 RPM. The 4 legs that we recorded true airspeeds of 119, 118, 119, and 118 knots for an average of 118.5 knots. Then we flew the same exact box for our standard cruise profile. This was also at 5,000 feet at 22 inches and 2350 RPM. The true airspeeds recorded for this box was 131, 132, 130, and 131 knots for an average true airspeed of 131 knots. After the cruise profiles, we were finished with the before testing and we went back to Hartzell Field for our approach and landing.
Finals clear.
Jinx.
Yomi soda.
Double jinx.
Hartzell traffic, sailing 380 Delta, starting final runway 26, full stop, Hartzell.
I guess I can't really comment on how this prop feels descending and landing, except it feels normal to me, so I could just tell you how the new one feels in reference.
Yeah, I think that's hard for us. I mean, this is what we're used to. Unbelievable.
Test pilot
Every
Mindy.
time. Like,
Test pilot
every
Mindy.
time. Every time. All right, let's get this old girl new prop.
Once we landed, we taxied back to the Hartzell hangar where they were very quick to pop off our old prop and start installing the new one. Upgrading our propeller has probably been one of the easiest upgrades we've done. I was already going to be in Ohio this past summer for some other work, so I thought, why not go to Hartzell themselves and have them do the upgrade, which is available to anyone, not just us. So if you purchase a new Hartzell prop, you can also go to the same exact facility and have them install and balance your new prop. We stuck around for some of the install, but we decided to leave before it was completely done. That way the next morning we would see the plane for the very first time, all put back together with the brand new 3-blade prop. The next morning we arrived at Hartzell Field to see the brand new prop, and we were so surprised with the new look, mainly because of the new spinner. I don't think I quite realized how dull and rounded our last spinner was, and now we have the brand new polished pointed spinner, which just makes it look a lot more fresh and modern and even matches our polished airplane a lot better. And then of course going from a 2-blade to a 3-blade prop has some major ramp appeal. And we started preparing for the afterflight, and to do that we wanted to keep everything the same, so we even added just a tiny amount of fuel to make sure that the fuel loads were identical to the day prior. As expected, the temperature at the same time of morning was exactly the same, the winds were about the same, so we were about as identical as we could be on our before and after conditions. Then we went out to fly the exact same flight as the day prior. So we went out to take off, we did a static takeoff, flaps 10, pulled it off the ground at 55 knots, and noted where we left the ground.
All right, perfectly center. I feel like I'm doing stole.
You're good.
Oh, I'm on it now on my side.
Yep.
Okay. Ready for takeoff?
Ready.
Hartzell Field, traffic, Skyline 302 Delta is taking off runway 26 with a departure out to the north, Hartzell.
Power's set, power's achieved. Yep, more right rudder than yesterday. Definitely more right rudder. $55. Might not be too much of a change there.
No.
There was really not that much takeoff distance factor to note as a comparison, except that it felt a little bit heavier, I needed a little bit more right rudder, and it sounded awesome. After takeoff, we went back to the same practice area, did our clearing turns, and then went right back into our climb performances. Just like the day prior, we set our altimeter to 299.2. That way the pressure altitudes were exactly the same.
Ready, and now, go.
Madison, McCauley, Skyhawk 739, X uniform, west downwind for 27, Madison.
Cessna 27 Golf, turning left base, runway 19, Cincinnati West.
There you go.
That's traffic.
Getting close.
115 Tango Whiskey will be departing to the west off the Crossland Metro.
GTs are looking good.
And
All
stop.
right, kill it.
What was it? Time?
1 minute, 5 seconds.
Was it about the same?
It's 2 seconds quicker.
So again, we started with our VX climb, 64 knots, got stabilized. We captured this climb from 29 to 3,900 feet, but this time it only took us 1 minute and 5 seconds, or about 924 feet per minute. Compared to our before flight, we shaved off 2 seconds over our 1,000-foot altitude gain, and we increased our climb performance by about 28 feet per minute. So honestly, there's not that much difference here to note. Then we flew our exact VY climb again. This was 81 knots perpendicular to the wind, and we noted our stabilized climb from 38 to 4,800 feet.
And
3,881 knots.
239,
And start.
on a 5 mile final runway 22, first runway.
you're getting 1.1 here the whole time. It really likes this setting.
All right, 50 feet. And 3, 2, 1.
All right,
What was that?
1 minute 9.
This time it took us 1 minute and 9 seconds, or about 870 feet per minute. Compared to our before flight, we shaved off another 2 seconds over the 1,000-foot altitude gain, and we increased our climb performance by about 25 feet per minute. Again, I don't think these numbers are huge enough to say that it was a big change, but these are the changes that we noted. Then we got into our cruise climb, which was surprisingly the biggest impact that we've had this far.
95.
Boom.
That goes turning left base, circle.
200 feet to go.
This one is going to be the kicker.
This is nice and stable.
Yeah.
100 feet to go.
Departing to the north, final call. Bingo.
Now.
Wow. All right, well, there's your difference. That one beat the old prop by 25 seconds almost.
Again, at 95 knots with 23 inches, 2,400 RPM. This time our climb from 4,000 to 5,000 feet took us 1 minute and 24 seconds, or about 714 feet per minute. When we compare it to our before flight with our old McCauley, this shaved off 20 seconds of time over just a 1,000-foot altitude gain. So that was huge. And we increased our climb performance by 137 feet per minute. This was a huge difference, and we were most excited that it was during the cruise climb because this is the climb that we use the most often. If you've watched some of our other videos, you'll know that we don't have cow flaps, so we don't really utilize a lot of steep climbs unless we absolutely have to. So we're typically doing a cruise climb anyway, and this is where our most dramatic difference has already taken place. Then we went to go fly those same cruise box profiles.
Ready, clock?
Yep.
Okay, track is 092. Ground speed 127.
Final 24.
True airspeed 122.
Madison County, Skyhawk 739X uniform, final 2.
All right.
Reset clock.
Cincinnati West traffic, Centurion 1.
Going to 360.
2 mile final runway 19, full stop. Cincinnati.
Started with the economy cruise again at 5,000 feet at 21.5 inches and 2,100 RPM. This time we recorded legs of true airspeed of 122, 120, 121, and 121 knots for an average of a true airspeed of 121 knots. Compared to our before flight, we've increased our true airspeed on economy cruise by 2.5 knots. This was also a welcomed increase because we were told that we wouldn't see too much of a cruise difference, but Every knot matters. Then we flew our standard cruise profile again, which is how we would normally cruise.
She definitely likes this setting.
Yeah,
Feels
this is
really
smooth.
good here.
Yep.
Super smooth, no vibrations.
Yep.
That's what I'm noticing.
It's very balanced for this RPM.
Yes.
Okay. True airspeed is 133.
Cool.
Reset clock.
This time we recorded true airspeeds of the box of 133, 133, 133, and 133 for an average of, you guessed it, 133 knots. Compared to our before flight, this means that we've increased our standard cruise by an additional 2 knots. Again, another welcomed increase in performance. After the cruise profiles, we went back to Hartzell Field for our approach and landing.
Hartzell traffic, Skyline 02 Delta, turning final 26, full stop, Hartzell. Hey, remember that time we got a new prop and it was awesome? Everything feels pretty status quo so far. Still status quo. Feels a little heavier right now. Yeah, that felt heavier to keep that flare. Not bad, just a noticeable difference.
Okay. Cool.
Just to be noted.
Great job, test pilot Mindy. Ah, the crowd. Ah, ah. You can put this on your resume when you apply to be an astronaut.
Hartzell Field, Skyline 02 Delta is clear. The active taxiing fuel farm, Hartzell.
Elon, if you're watching, astronaut Mindy, test pilot.
I'm in.
During the approach and landing, I did notice that it was just a little bit heavier. In fact, it's 20 pounds heavier than our previous 2-blade McCauley. Overall, these very short test flights gave us just a glimpse of the extra performance that we would receive with Mojo and the new Hartzell prop. But really, we noticed a lot of the improvements over time. As we flew it back home, we noticed that at our normal cruise of about 8,000 feet, we're actually seeing about 4 knots increase in cruise. But then we also realized the biggest benefit that Hartzell does not even advertise, which is really impactful for us with the 182A model. As I mentioned before, we don't have cow flaps. So what was really interesting to me is that with the new 3-blade prop, we have significantly lower CHTs on our engine temperatures. I think that this is because of the extra airflow of having an additional prop, bringing more air over the engine and keeping it cooler. But this was dramatically lower CHTs than I'm used to seeing over the next several weeks. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at me and Kevin for a day as test pilots. We are certainly not test pilots, but we did our best to keep it all as identical as possible and give you the real raw data and real truth about what it's like to upgrade your prop. I am over the moon with the new ramp appeal Mojo. And then of course, the new performance increases on climb, cruise, and cooler CHTs are awesome. I hope you enjoyed, but be sure to subscribe to the channel because we have a lot of really huge surprises coming for you soon.